Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Thick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, as always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Thick on the show today. We have a feeling that Trump's 2 p.m. announcement on the Iran nuclear accord is going to hang over the market until then. So we're going to talk about the feeling as we head into that announcement and what ramifications it could have either way. We want to talk about some earning stocks. We have a bidding war likely happening in FOXA, so we're going to talk about that as well, and we'll answer your questions in our chat, premarket.benzinga.com and youtube.com/benzingatv. Our guest today, Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spread, so stop by at 8:35. Joel, what's happening this morning in the SPOOs?
We're in the red, and we're in the red pretty good by 850. Your pre-market high, 26.72 That's a target on the upside. Only $3 off that pre-market low of 58.50. Not much in there, folks. We get way down to Friday's low after that, but we'll have to check on that later on. Crude got near 71 yesterday. Wow, they killed it after hours, starting at 2:30 p.m. Down 65 cents, but most of that damage was done between 2:30 and 3. Gold in the red by $2.30 at $13.1180. Silver flat here, gold clinging at $1,300 level, and Bitcoin futures can't quite get to 10,000, hanging, well, trying to stay in the 9,000 handle, down $345 at 90.55. Let's bring Dennis in, and Dennis, how you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Do you want to know disaster of the day or no disaster of the day? I don't know if I have a disaster of the day yet. I'm not even sure yet.
You know what?
Let's go take a look. I have a total of 43 overnight positions, though. So I'm sure out of those 43 positions, one of them will turn into a disaster. You can't have 43 positions and not have one disaster stock.
I pulled the Dennis last night.
What'd you do?
I was short the S&P futures and on the 4 o'clock close and got a nice lead on it, because it was selling off after hours. And so I kept moving my stop down. And I moved it to 26.72. And the high, I didn't quite pull a Dennis. The high is 26.72 So I got stopped out at 26.72 and never reawoke in the middle of the night to reshort it. So I pulled it.
That's how they do. They run those stops, man. It was a mental stop, though, right?
My little 10 lot, they're going to run my stop.
They run everything, Joel. They run them all.
Yeah.
Stop hunters.
All right.
They'll run you for 100 shares.
All right.
Seriously, they'll run you a little bit. For 10 lot, probably run you.
Okay. All right.
Was it on the book or was it mental?
No, I mean, when I go to sleep, I got to put it in. I mean, I can't.
I don't know. Sometimes those stops, it depends on your broker. Sometimes they're kept internally. They're on the exchange. I believe there's stop hunters out there.
They don't
run stops.
Dennis, they don't keep the SPOO. They send everything to the exchange on the SPOOs. You know that, right?
10 lot's pretty big. At what time?
But I put it in before I went to bed, and they got me.
So what time? At the middle of the night?
Yeah. Let me see what time they got it. Traded 72.25 at. Let's see here.
Pretty thin, middle of the night.
I know, but you said they kept it on their own books, but you know that they don't do that. All the SPOO orders go right to the Globex.
Well, yeah, but your broker can keep that stop. Like, I believe, Interactive Brokers keeps the stops in their own internal system and then will execute when its pricing, goes there. So they don't, and I think you can send them directly there too, but there's a lot of brokers that will keep them on their own internal books.
Not SPOOs, man. I don't think
I don't know. I can't, I'm just saying it might be the case. So
No
if it's
way.
on the books, they can run them. They'll run it. I don't know if they're running for a 10 lot or not, but they might.
315 is when it traded up to 72.25.
In any regard here, I hate stop orders for that reason, especially in the opening. Like, people put stops out there for the stock. They're so thin. They'll run you for 100 shares. I mean, if they see it there, why not? So the stops are just, it seems like it'll always just stop you out. So I know people got to go to work. They got day jobs. They got to use stops. But if it's within like a dime of the price there at the open, it seems like you always get around. And maybe it's just the shop that's doing it. Maybe it's, conspiracy theory to a certain extent. But I believe that if they can find out those stops, and sometimes they can, that they'll run them. And there's also everybody knows where they put their stops too, big hole numbers and stuff like that. So you get through those levels, they know they'll trigger a few stops there too. So you can kind of guess where some of the stops are. So if it's a big level, that's why a lot of times you'll see the the breakdown, and then it turns into a fake down because they take it through, hit the stops out, and then buy those and then take it back higher. So be careful with the stops because they will get run.
All right, what do you want to start with the bidding war here and merger and acquisitions?
Let's do it.
Well, it looks like that we have a bidding war. Nothing firm yet. We do have, remember, a $52 billion bid on the table by Disney for most of 21st Century Fox. Now a report that Comcast has asked for as much as $60 billion so that they can make an all-cash offer, but they're apparently going to wait until this AT&T Time Warner ruling gets made. But so we have a report that Comcast looking for $60 billion to presumably outbid Disney's $52 billion for Fox.
And it was only some of the assets, so now. Right. Comcast looking to buy the whole company, correct? Isn't that what we're looking at? Or are they buying the same assets?
Oh, you know what? I thought it was the same assets. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if
same assets, or are they buying the whole damn thing?
Let me look. No, same assets, not the whole thing.
Okay, same assets. There's just a bidding war here.
Yes.
Going on. So, okay, lots of action here last night. Fox trading up about 5% of this news last night. Only up 2.5%. Nothing has happened here again this morning. So, obviously, as more stuff doesn't happen, then, it starts to leak a little bit there. Disney got hit a little bit on this. It was trading up after hours last night. It did sell off a little bit. It is due to report here tonight, but it's only down 11 cents, so not much. And Comcast is selling off a bit too. People obviously scared they're going to pay a premium and maybe too much for those assets. Joel, I think, is in that camp here, which he'll talk about in a second. But we're down 50 cents here in Comcast, CMCSA. So lots of movement here in the media sector.
I don't know what on the pre-market show we decided we made short whoever ends up winning the bidding war. I mean,
I don't get it. Overpay for Fox. I just think
what's on Fox?
Better stuff out there.
What's out there? What's on Fox? I mean, Fox Sports, Fox
News
Network.
Assets were they buying again, Spencer? There was some they were leaving. I think they were leaving the Fox Sports.
They're going to buy the entertainment networks, the movie studios, and the TV production and international assets. That includes just about everything. It doesn't include. Fox
Sports.
It's probably the most valuable asset.
They don't want Fox.
Fox Sports is not the most valuable asset.
Disney does not need another ESPN.
Yeah, it didn't include Fox Sports. There's a couple other ones that didn't include, but the studio business is the big one there. Fox News, that's huge, obviously, and most of the company.
I don't know what to say here. I mean, is there going to be a deal for Fox here? It looks like it eventually. We don't know where that price is. How much of it is all priced in already, too, because we know that Disney bid's on the table here. And that all started when the stock was like $26, $27. It's $37 here now. So, Disney's there. Comcast there. Somebody's getting. I don't think you're going to see this like $45 price or, $40. I think maybe there's another point or two there, but I think most of it is probably priced out.
Oh, here we go. So Fox would keep the Fox Network, Fox Business, its sports channels, and it would keep Fox News too, and everything else would go to Disney.
Boring. Let's move on.
Okay. What about, so we had a little conversation, and isn't there better stuff to buy out there? I mean, if you want content, I think that, and I made this argument, you're going to argue against me here, Spencer, but I own this stock, and maybe I'm talking my own book a little bit, but I like the AMC networks. If you want content and you want production, new series and stuff, it's something like this sitting there at $3 billion market cap. Isn't this like a no-brainer for somebody to scoop up? Like, couldn't a Netflix even buy AMC networks? Like, they already on Netflix, you have a lot of the AMC shows. You know, Walking Dead and all of them are on there, and I'm sure Netflix is obviously paying AMC for that content. Why the hell wouldn't Netflix just like buy AMC networks?
Do they have a lot? The only reason I'm asking this, if not, I'm going to add it to my portfolio today. Do they have a lot of debt?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because that is always a scary thing there. So $3 billion market cap there. Can we find out AMC Network's debt quick enough on the show?
No.
Spencer, do you have?
I'm looking right now, but my internet's being slow. But
okay. All right.
I'll look it up here right now.
Okay.
Let's see how much.
Spencer will look that up. We'll come back.
Well, but my whole argument kind of against it is you like AMC because you like their content. Great. There's so
it's kind of scary.
I'm talking AMCX, by the way, not the movies.
AMC. The network, the network. Not.
I like their content. It seems like they pound out a big hit like every couple of years. Breaking Bad. Then they had Walking Dead. Now they've got some other shows there too. There's a ton of shows. Bring them up. Like bring up the show, Spencer. We were looking at the pre-market show. I mean, there's a ton of stuff here. I mean, Walking Dead is still their gun, and obviously, you can't keep milking that. So they've got to come with some better stuff. I like that Better Call Saul. That was the prequel to Breaking Bad. I think it's pretty. But my point is, there's so much. There's so much out there. You may like AMC because that's what you watch, but someone else may watch Netflix or HBO or Hulu or. But I just think of the money that Netflix is spending to produce original content. And AMC Networks is doing the same damn thing. All right, just producing original content. You want long-term? So isn't it kind of like a $3 billion? You're talking about Netflix has a $132 billion market cap. Do an all-stock deal. Netflix, listen to this. Do an all-stock deal. $3 billion and nothing. That's nothing for them to buy.
They got that in the till.
Well, you want long-term debt. You want the
and
debt.
Now you got a whole bunch more original content that's your own.
The debt.
I don't know. That's why I own AMC Networks for that reason. AMCX. Because I think it's just cheap. Now, the debt question, which we still haven't answered
yet. No, I'm trying to answer it. The debt, long-term debt,
interesting.
$3 billion. $3 billion.
My systems are slow too. Look, the financial analyst can't even find out how much debt is in this.
I'm trying to answer the question. $3 billion.
How much debt? Help us out, Chad. How much debt is in this?
Are you listening?
He's still listening to me.
Maybe I should have looked at that before I invested.
Dennis.
Joel, it's a good question.
Dennis, can you hear me?
Hang on. I'm getting there.
I don't know why. No, I'm not on mute. Dennis, can you hear me?
Hang on, balance sheet. I'm grabbing the balance sheet right now.
He's not listening to me. Can you hear you, Joel?
I hear. Oh, you have it?
I've been saying this for like a minute. Yes, I'm trying to answer your question.
What is it?
$3 billion. I can't even say it.
$3 billion in debt. That's a good.
I've been sitting here trying to say I have the answer.
Netflix could swallow that too.
Okay.
Okay, so it is a good chunk of debt. So that might be a deterrent.
Okay. All right. Let's
moving on from my thesis of buying AMCX.
Let's go to Spinner. Spinner's asking about some ETFs. They getting just the tar kicked out of them. He's asking about Mexico ETF. That thing's been straight down, is trading down again. And then he's also asking about, I think EWZ is Brazil. And I do have some exposure to like some of these outside markets. I don't think it's Mexico. I hope it's not Mexico and Brazil. These things just look horrible. I mean, they may be a good buy in here somewhere.
What was the first one?
EWW.
I can't hear apparently.
EWW. EWW.
EWW is Mexico. Yeah, you're right. Those are getting the beats.
I mean, I would look, if I'm looking long term here, I see the I would have to wait for the 2017 low at 41.23. 41 to 43. I think I'd have to wait a little bit longer. Or if I was stepping out in front of it, I would use that as a stop out area or a place to add more. EWZ monthly. I don't know. This thing's maybe got some work to do into the 30 handle, upper 37 hand, 37, 31, 38, 12. Let's call it 38, 37, 80 on that one. Dennis, any thoughts?
Just remember when you're trading some of these, and obviously all the ETFs are structured differently. Some of them are hedged to the currency, some are not. So sometimes you get currency effects in there too that will knock down, your index, which is maybe potentially, or your ETF, which is maybe potentially based in US dollars. So you've got to always watch a little bit of the currency effects in there. But that's just, a side note. But I mean, from the chart here on EWZ, it's a lot of, we've been talking about it for a while in this show. I mean, the world markets have dramatically underperformed the U.S. markets. And if you think there's going to be a catch-up play, some of this stuff is good buys. I've been loading up some of the emerging market funds because EEM, bring up the long term of that one, which is one of your big emerging markets fund, has gone nowhere in basically 7 years. So your U.S. markets have over doubled in that same time. So if you think there's going to be a catch-up trade here eventually, it's not a bad long-term investment, I think. So I've been buying some emerging market funds just for that reason, that I think eventually some of the money cycles around, and all this money that's coming to the U.S. eventually comes back into other countries as well. Canada's dramatically underperformed too, and that's been due to oil prices. But oil's getting itself out of the gutter here right now too. So, maybe Canada starts to pick it up a little bit. So there's definitely, if you don't have to chase, is what I'm saying, if you're a long-term investor. There's some cheap stuff out there. And some of these emerging market funds have really underperformed for a long time. So, I like to buy stuff when it's cheap. I think some of these funds, some of these ETFs that are obviously giving you international exposure are cheap right now.
Is this Canadian dollar oil correlation broken down?
Completely. And who do we have on the show that, said it was one of our currency traders. And we asked her about the Canadian dollar. Do you remember? It was like 6 months ago. And she's the one that said it's completely broken away from oil. And that's because interest rates are the primary concern in Canada right now. And I completely agree. I mean, you have rising interest rates in the U.S. Canada would love to raise interest rates, but they simply cannot raise them as fast as the U.S. because Canada has an enormous housing bubble going on. I mean, housing prices in the Toronto area and Vancouver area have just went nuts. And even in my own town, Windsor, Ontario, the housing prices went way up significantly as well. So you have a housing bubble in Canada. So you cannot raise interest rates like they can in the States. And we know interest rates are still the predominant factor when determining currency's value. So if you got interest rates that are rising, money will chase that. And if the U.S. rates are rising relative to Canadian rates, the U.S. dollar will remain strong compared to the Canadian dollar. And that's really what's happened there, and why, since oils went from like $50 to $70, you haven't seen the Canadian dollar go up at all. Interest rates are complaining.
Was it Tracy TT Mack is saying Tracy Roniak? I was thinking,
might have been.
Or how about Nicola Duke? Because
it could have been Nicola too. It could have been a couple. I mean, these currency traders know this stuff. I'm not a currency trader. I'm just, logically thinking about it. And if interest rates aren't going up in Canada as fast as they are in the U.S., it's going to keep the Canadian dollar, depressed relative to the U.S.
Should I buy the Canadian dollar?
If you think interest rates are going to start going up, I don't think they can raise them that much in Canada. I think they raised them a little bit. I don't know how much more they can go. I mean, you've got, houses in Canada, that should be worth especially in Toronto. You look at the Toronto pricing. I mean, it's something like houses. The average house in Toronto went from in 2001 from $300,000 to $1 million or 1.1, like tripled or quadrupled in the last 12 or 14 years. We got to bring up Rob. You know who we should get on to talk about this? Rob McLister.
I'm going to text him today. Okay.
Get Rob McLister on here because he's, mortgage. He knows mortgages. He knows interest rates, Canadian markets. He follows it so closely. What's his company? We give him some proud. What's the company called? Mortgage. He's got the mortgage rate app where everybody uses, the mortgage brokers use his software to basically find cheaper rates. Anyways, he's created that software, and he's done really well with it. But he knows
Mortgage
stuff.
Web.
He's on.
Is it Mortgage Web?
I don't. We got to find more information.
Rate Spy. Oh, look at
Rate
it.
Spy.
Yeah, Rate Spy. Which mortgage?
And
okay.
Anyways, he knows this stuff, so he's the guy to bring on. So we'll bring him on. We'll go deeper in this conversation because we want to get back to stocks here.
Yeah, can we cover more than one stock before Nick comes on?
No, we've talked with Zillow. Go to Zillow, and so I'm going to cover two stocks with one stock because there's two listings: Zebra G or Zebra. You got two of them there. They're both down $4. They both trade obviously together here. Zillow earnings, Spencer.
Yep. This is yesterday after the bell. Q1 EPS 7 cents, beat by a penny. Sales $299.8 million versus $294.45 million estimate. So it beat on that, slight beat also on the EPS. Q2 sales guidance coming in light. $322 to $327 million is what they said. $354 was the estimate. Fiscal year sales guidance coming in line.
Straight up, and I mean straight up into the report. So when they go straight up and running up $3 ahead of the report, they better blow it away. And that did not happen. And that is why you're seeing weakness here this morning, major weakness here in Zillow. That being said, you get down there under 50, you got lots of underneath demand there too. So I don't think this is going to whoosh down. I mean, could you get to 46 and a quarter? Not today, but I think there's underneath demand here. I think you'll find buyers on pullbacks in Zillow. So I wouldn't be surprised. And did you notice a lot of these stocks reported disappointing earnings, Joel? A lot of them bounced right back. Even look at who was the food stock that reported there a couple days ago? Tyson. Remember Tyson chicken was down like $4 in the pre-market? Closed higher.
I know.
Closed higher.
I know.
There's people buying pullbacks now. Buy the dip is coming back in favor a little bit. Sell the rip for a while. It's actually sell the rip and buy the dip right now. That's the market where that's when you get in these trading ranges that go sideways. It's always sell the rip and buy the dip. And that's how you make money in sideways markets. The whole key.
What do you guys like? You like Z or ZG? What should I go with here?
Zed.
Okay, Zed.
Yeah, we say
boom,
Zed.
boom.
I like Zed. It's one less ticker, and then I can say Zed's dead, baby.
Wow.
Spencer.
I just wish you could see me head in forehead, hand in forehead, forehead in hand.
Boy, you guys are just on a roll this morning.
We are a tangent city here.
$2 to fill the gap from yesterday, 52.92. So I'd keep an eye on that. Call 53 resistance. Your 2-day low. I mean, you're right there at your 2-day low. So all those people that shorted it on Friday and Monday and now are underwater, let's see if they make a stand here at $51. If you're looking for some continued downside, 50.27, 50 psychological, 49.64, some other daily levels. But just keep in mind, folks, there's a lot of people stuck short here. Been shorted maybe since 48. So I just keep an eye on those daily lows as potential support points. Let's go to
I'm a buyer of the pullback in Zed.
I'd wait for the 50% retracement if you really force me.
Give me a good number. $50 to say 50?
46 to 56, Dennis. Take half of that. Ooh, 51. 51.
Right there.
Yeah, just like that. Value. Let's talk about one that Dennis won't whine about. Valiant Pharmaceuticals, right? You got that one in your portfolio?
I do. I have Valiant in my portfolio. You know why, too? The main reason is it's tough to find good Canadian stocks. And I'm Canadian. I have a lot of Canadian money. And I'm always, I've got a lot of U.S. money, too, because I'm running most of the U.S. stocks. I know them better. But it's hard to find good Canadian companies. I don't know if Valiant's a good one, but it's Canadian at least. So it's like one of your only bigger pharmaceutical companies in Canada. So I can invest with Canadian dollars. So I bought it on the pullback there. Happy I did this morning because it's trading up 7%. So I was down in it for a while. I'm back up in this puppy now here. It's looking hot. And they're changing their name.
Yeah, and the ticker while they're at it. So
really?
No, what's ticker going to be?
Yeah, well, I'll get there. So the Q1 EPS 89 cents versus a 60-cent estimate. Very nice beat.
Woo-hoo.
Sales just under $2 billion versus a $1.95 billion estimate. So slightly on that. Also raising their sales outlook for the fiscal year. It's still in the low to mid $8 billion range though. Changing their name to Bosch, and changing their ticker to BHC.
Why do these companies want to change their tickers all the time? It confuses old guys like me and Joel. Joel will be typing in VRX 2 years from now when we talk about this company.
2 years?
10 years. What is it going to go to? BOH?
BHC.
No. BHC?
Yeah.
You know what?
Because BOH is Bank of Hawaii.
Well, I don't know. Bosch & Law does more than contact solution, right? They do eye care products.
All I know is they do contacts.
Because I would say, I don't know if I'd want to be changing my name to that. But anyways, you got a nice pop here in the pre-market. You're filling a gap from the last earnings report. That goes up to 1924. So we're still good to go north as long as we can hold 1924. Pre-market high is right at this area, 1964. And boom, that 1924, fills the gap. All right, already filled the gap at 1850. The reason I'm saying 1924 is that was the high on the day before it dropped $2. So I'm not buying this in the 19 handle, looking for a whole, looking for 20. I'd rather try and get it on a pullback. And under 19 bucks. If you got anywhere near yesterday's high, 1871, 1875, 1880, I'd be interested, or a short-term, a short trade off the open. Tony Yayo remembered, I think it was Rocky Horner that talked about.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say anything.
Rocky,
I agree.
that's who it was. Almost props to Rocky. She called this like a long time ago.
I'm going to ping Rocky and get her back.
Go, Rocky. It's your birthday.
And Tony Yayo wants to know, what's the difference between IWN and IWM?
Well, one is the Russell 2000, one is the Russell 2000 value. So they have different exposures, different a different number of stocks. I think the IWM has 2000, the IWN as in Nancy. What does that have? That's got not the entire index. It's got just like just like the value portion of the Russell. So it's like half.
Those charts are very close, though, to the same. Just to tell you,
yeah,
so they're close, but I think Spencer's broke it down pretty nicely.
It's just the value portion of
and just for me, just looking at this, I would definitely, if I traded this, I would trade the IWM. Traded 16 million yesterday. IWN traded 700,000.
Okay, so back to the earnings parade here. We've covered two stocks. We did pretty good. JD.com, stock getting the beats here in the pre-market. It has been getting the beats for a while. You know what? You look at a lot of these Chinese stocks, and they've all done pretty well. JD.com has really got killed there in March and April, and it's now back down to where it came from. If you look from this big breakout way back in October, it came from 36, ran to 50, and went all the way back down to the 36 there. It's finding a little bit of life here now. Getting hit here this morning, but I haven't even seen the report yet. I think there's going to be buyers on pullbacks. Spencer, give me the details, and I'll see if I want to retract that statement.
Q1 EPS 11 cents versus an 18-cent estimate. Sales slight beat, 16 billion versus a $15.6 billion estimate. So a mixed report for Q1. Q2 sales guidance coming in line from what I see. Sales up. Sales will be up about 30% for the quarter, year over year.
It's not a great report, but you have all kinds of support in the 36 handle. I think this gets anywhere in the 36s. I think you find underneath demand here, people looking to buy the pullback in JD.com.
And let's see here. Dennis,
you taking the other side of that bet?
What's the bet? What's the bet?
I think you find support. I don't think it goes below 36.
Let's move on. Intraday, there's already a buyer stepping up here at 37, Dennis.
So you're on the same side. You're a buyer of the pullback too?
Yeah, I mean, there's already a buyer.
Me and Joel agree. We like the pullback at JD.com.
So
we like it long.
37, a buyer stepping up here in the pre-market trading. Very obvious here.
It's gonna be me and Joel.
Your low since 7:15 on the 15-minute chart, which is the shortest time frame I like to look at. Lows are all from 37.02 to 37.25. So that support, if in fact that's taken out, man, your 2-day low is way down at 36.40. So I would keep an eye on that as well. Dennis, we've been a little negligent here because BZ Tokyo has been waiting to go over for a few days our thoughts on NXPI. Now, I know there's some news associated with this stock. Wasn't Qualcomm going to take it out? And then it had some real bad news. Spencer, you recap the news, and then we'll get Dennis.
Well, they had earnings last week, but I think we went over that. Maybe we missed it on Thursday, but the earnings came out Wednesday, actually, which not comparable on the EPS. Sales came in below the estimates by a hair, 2.27 versus 2.35 $1 billion. Since then, we've had some analyst activity on the stock. We had an upgrade from Drexel Hamilton. On Thursday, we had a lowered price target from Stifel on Friday, down to $102.
I mean, Qualcomm is trying to buy NXPI. I think there's still a bid there on the table, but it's been rejected multiple times. I don't think the's been ever a price agreed to on this.
They extended the tender offer to May 11th at 5.
What are they offering them?
Good question. I should probably know that. Good question. Top of my head.
It doesn't look like they're going to take it.
It says 127 is the takeout price, and it's trading at 96.
I don't think this is going down, this deal. Is that stock-based, though? Maybe it's stock-based, the original one, because Qualcomm prices come down a long ways, too.
Qualcomm's
all over the place, eh?
Yeah.
And now they're getting out. There's a Qualcomm headline here too. What was this headline overnight? They're getting out of the chips or some type of server chips. They're getting out of that business now too. You see that headline talking with Spencer?
Yeah, I did see that. That was last night, right?
Last night after the bell.
Yeah, I mean that I'm reading the same headline.
So they are cutting expenses and they're getting out of what server? Is it server chips?
Yes,
I don't know.
That's what the article from Bloomberg says.
BZ Tokyo, I can't. It's a cash deal at 127 right now. Based on what I'm just seeing here in the charts and technical, not a lot of faith in the street that this deal is going through. You had the real bad day, the washout day, when it went to 90.83. So that was the whooping. It traded big volume, and then your sellers just went away for a couple days. Your volume declined to 15 million and 3 million. $100. Last two highs, 124 and 129. You got to take those out. Finish the day over 100, and I think you see continued upside. If I was holding on to this right now, a 9-point move, 4.5, I would not like to see this. I call support at 95.5, trading down in the pre-market. So those are my levels. 95.5, got to clear 100, and the low of the move, you surely got to hit the exit button if it takes out 90.83.
Bank of America, 177,000 to buy. Citigroup, which we have not talked about, this is going to be a big mover of the banks. It's got 82,000 to buy. Let's talk about it now for the next 2 minutes. Value Act taking a major position here in Citigroup. That is why the stock is trading up $1.22 here in the pre-market and getting a lot of love here overnight. Thoughts here? You get some activist action, and they're going to shake this thing up. It's a big position for them too, right, Spencer?
1.2.
Isn't this like one?
Yeah, 1.2 billion.
Yeah, it's a huge chunk of cash for Value Act here. So they are taking a big position. So you think this could kickstart the banks a little bit overall? Maybe show, because we know the banks have been in the gutter. They needed a vote of confidence. Citi's getting that vote of confidence, obviously, this morning. You think it drags up any of the other banks? I mean, there's 177,000 to buy Bank of America here today, 46,000 to buy Morgan. They caught a bid the last couple days. Think the banks are getting out of the gutter?
I mean, I'll just comment on Value Act, and they're good. I think I remember them giving in to Microsoft and then also Yahoo. And I mean,
following them.
Yeah, years ago. So just based on that, I mean, this could at least kickstart Citigroup. We'll do the charts here, and boom, boom, boom. Citigroup getting a little bump. Initially on the news, you hit 70 right on the kisser. So
I got to go see what happened there.
There's a bunch of highs just under 70. So clearing 70, taking out 70 is good. A lot of air up to 70, 62 after that. That was your April 24th high. And for the XLF, man, it put it in a low 3 days ago, but that's when the market put a low in here. So I know XLF really needs to clear 28. And just kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, are we really going to get, all these interest rate rises that everyone wants that have already been factored into the banks? I don't know.
Let's bring Nick Chahine on. He can add to this conversation as well. It's 8:35.
Holy moly.
All right, calling Nick right now.
All right, Nick Chahine.
That's me.
Nick, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Have you been listening to the show today? Because Dennis has just been all over the place, and I was just wondering if I was the only one that thought.
Somebody pick on Dennis Day.
Somebody slipped something in your coffee.
He doesn't drink.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's just all natural adrenaline going on right now.
So, how was the earthquake?
It was good. It's nothing like an earthquake to give you a hot flash first thing in the morning. So.
Where do you live? You don't have to tell us exactly because I know people.
Well, I live in Southern California, close to the beach, and so we do shake every once in a while. But if you're up at 4:30 in the morning, typing up a morning newsletter, and you shake, you don't need coffee.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's. I want to start broad here a little bit, and because I was talking with my brother-in-law over the weekend, and he's been doing some trading. He's been trading a lot of stocks, and he has a good sized portfolio, pretty diversified portfolio, really doesn't know about the options markets, and he's learning about it. So what do you think? Can you just give him a couple tips, just to start out, if you just want to dip your, he's not looking for, a lot of risk. He's looking, maybe create income with option spreads. What do you thought people want to just be a little bit more diversified in their portfolio? What kind of steps should they take?
Well, first of all, if I own stocks, I would force myself to learn options, because especially during times of uncertainty, when you have headlines, finite headlines like deadlines, binary events. Like today we're going to have a binary event with Trump announcing what we're going to do with the Iran deal, and then another one in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have one for China tariffs. So I need to protect my stocks if I own them. So what better time than to learn options? And the simple way of doing it, just buying insurance by buying puts in the stocks you own. Research that, because before you start making money, you got to protect what you have first. And I would research, what is buying a put and how can I do it? And is it a waste of money? You buy insurance for your health, for your car, for your house. Why not for your stock? And you don't cry about it that you didn't crash that month. Oh my gosh, I wasted my premium. No, insurance is necessary during periods of time where you think you're going to need it.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the binary event from today.
Well, yesterday, actually, we found out late in the day that kind of fizzled the rally a little bit off the highs. That we're going to have an announcement from the White House on what we're going to do with Iran deal. Are we exiting? Are we demanding a modification or what? So it's likely to move markets. And what was interesting that yesterday when the headline broke, both stocks and oil fell, which made no sense to me. If we're leaving the Iran deal and we're scared and we sell the stocks, oil should spike. And it didn't. They both fell at the same time. So there's complete confusion. So flip a coin and see what happens.
All right. The other stock I want to ask you about, and then I'll let the guys take over here. You were pretty good on that run up in Apple, but do you ever short Apple, or what would make you want to buy puts in it? No, you never short Apple.
I did used to short Apple. I think the last time I shorted Apple, Icon came out and said he's long Apple. And it kind of forced me to execute a trade in panic. And because, I had profits and then I gave it all back. I didn't end up with a loss, but it was like an aha moment. I was like, why am I doing this? There are plenty of good stocks to bet on the long side. Why am I looking to short some? So no, I'm not shorting Apple. In fact, I had a good friend who was short Apple, and it was a difficult time. So it is, why do I want to short the best company on the planet, arguably?
Oh, like cash.
Yeah. And it's a tough short. If I'm shorting Apple, I'm shorting the markets, because Apple all by itself is not going to fall without a major catastrophe. And I just can't see one happening. There are easier shorts out there. There are definitely easier shorts out there. So shorting Apple, I would have to have a specific thesis, and I don't see one. If you have one, we'll discuss.
Let's jump over to a few individual stocks here. And we've had, a lot of earnings. We're going to get a big one here tonight, which let's preview. Disney, House of Mouse, going to report earnings. Comcast is fighting them for these Fox assets. Comcast made a bid here overnight, or is potentially making a bid. Rumors are that they're potentially going to make a bid for Fox and trump Disney's bid. So why Disney's trading down a little bit here in the pre-market. But thoughts on Disney? They've had a good Avengers movie. The stock has kind of been trying to find a bottom in the 98 area. Thoughts on it going into tonight's report?
Man, I have never seen a good company be so violent in the as far as price action on Disney. So a lot of opportunity, technically speaking, and it never acts like I expected to. So on events, Disney is just a complete coin flip. So technically speaking, yes, it is frisky. It could see 104 plus. On a breach of the most recent, it tried to rally and failed at 102, maybe 103-ish. But below it, there's also a similar neckline. So any which way it goes from the actual headline, it's going to carry momentum in that direction. So if it takes out 103, I think it can run a little bit. And conversely, if it takes out the recent lows, it can run in the other way. I haven't looked at the options. They report tonight, you said?
Yeah, after the bell.
Okay, so let's see what the option market is pricing in about, 3 almost $5 in either direction, move up or down. If I'm looking at just the open interest in front of me here and not a complete slice into it like I usually do with a spreadsheet, it looks like down is the easier path, but not by much. So complete coin flip on the headline itself. Fundamentally, it's not that a risky trade. I don't believe it's bloated from the valuation perspective. PE is what, 18, maybe 17 trailing. And the movies, like you said, kick butt. And so they just have to figure it out. So I would be comfortable selling downside risk into a dip.
Later in the week, we're going to get NVDA, and the stock has come all the way back. I mean, it got hit there when everything got hit the last 2 days. Rocket ship mode ahead of the number. We're almost at all-time high, so it's up another buck here this morning on a down tape here. So NVIDIA continues to get the love. I mean, we got a big psychological 250 level here, but I believe, is it Friday, Spencer, the report? Thursday? Maybe Thursday.
Let me confirm real fast. I
think it's Thursday.
Well, NVIDIA, short at your own risk. I mean, my gosh, again, it represents the new tech era. So again, shorting NVIDIA is definitely shorting the market in general for a lot of reasons on several levels, in my opinion. If I'm long it, I'm not closing out the long. Maybe I'll book it before the earnings, or I will protect it with some sort of a very weak put position to protect my profits. But if I'm long, I stay long in it. And I bet you it's going to be violent. I bet you the market expects some big moves from it. In fact, we can take a peek at the options right now. This week's, so what, $17-18 plus or minus is the priced in. Yeah, so it's expensive to play as a lottery ticket, but this is one that you can play fundamentally. It's not cheap from the traditional sense, but how can you put a price on a company that is grabbing the growth going forward on several different arenas? I mean, they attribute it to everything from AI to self-driving to whatever, video chips or whatever it used to start out with.
All right, Nick, next one I want to ask you about, and you had a good tweet yesterday. If anybody doesn't follow Nick on Twitter, @RacerNick, you said that your open interest suggested that you buy puts in Valiant, but instead you pulled a Costanza and you bought calls. How often do you do that, Nick?
Costanza only on lottery fund trades, because it's not a way to invest really. Go to Vegas and put it on red or even or whatever. But I looked at it and I listened to the rhetoric, and like it or not, CNBC is an influencer for retail, and they're like happy with it these days as far as turning the ship around and fixing the balance sheet or whatever is going on there. So I don't know the fundamentals on it. I know it was a mess, and I know I sold puts in it before with conviction when it was closer at the $10 level. I figured it's either going to zero and I'm going to lose a little bit, or it's going to go a home run. And so those puts played out well. But in this case, yeah, I looked at the open interest. It gave me a hint, but it wasn't very meaty. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go against my gut and go up. So we'll see if that's going to play out.
A couple issues from the chat here, Nick. Can we get your thoughts on Alibaba?
Yes, Alibaba. I just I'll share a video a little bit later I did the other day. So I was long Baba. I booked a profit yesterday. I regretted it, and I re-engaged long. So with some house money. So having said that, the chart looks like it was reaching a place where it failed before, somewhere around the 193. But this time it has a couple of strong candles, depending on what happens today with the outcome. It feels okay so far, but that thing, if it breaks out of this, look, for the last 10 months, it's been ping-ponging inside a tight zone between 180 and 165, and then slightly above it for almost as long, which brings it to 193 and 183. So when it busts out of it, I believe it's going to carry up to 205 plus.
Nick, be a little careful on this one. You filled the gap that you had back in March. That filled the gap at 194.57, and then you got another double top at 199, just near that $200 level. So, man, if I mean, it's had a big run a couple days. I know you re-engage with only a portion of your profits, though. I know.
But let me ask you this.
Sure.
But therein lies the opportunity, right? That's how they break out of a region, when they attack a neckline several times over, and this time with gusto. So if the market in general continues higher, what do you think is going to happen to this one?
I don't think the market's going higher.
No? Okay. You and I disagree. Let me show let me show you this. Let me show you this. Okay. I'm going to show you a chart of the Qs.
Okay.
Behind the biggest soldier in there. You can guess which soldier that is.
Apple.
What do you think the outcome of this chart is going to be? On a positive headline from the White House, or no negative headlines from the White House.
Okay. All right. Point well taken. Very, very well taken here.
So, you and I disagree on that one. And within the next couple of days, we'll see if the battle continues or it's a definite, outcome one way or another.
And you only re-engage with a portion of your profits, right?
Yes.
There you go.
And also in a spread and not naked calls. So I'm not aggressively long, but I want to capture the move if it happens.
Okay. All right. Oil. Nick, I know you tried a little short in that one. I hope you got out alive. Then you had to go up yesterday, and then I don't know. Can you turn your thoughts north on crude, or just too much supply?
I'm puzzled as to how high crude is. It is. I don't think the fundamentals changed aggressively that fast. And so I don't know why we're up there. It's up above and beyond my pay grade. I don't short it here. I did short it for a while, and I did exit with small profit. And I believe somebody in my chat room said that they were shorted, and then it went against them, but they said they exited for even. So I'll take them at their word. It's tough to short here, but it's tough to go long here. So is it going to stay there? I don't think so. But you got headlines flying in the Middle East and all of that.
What about, there's one more I wanted to get you from the chat. Let's do IBM. That just came through.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So disclosure on IBM, I hate management. I shouldn't say I hate it. I think management has been disappointing in turning around this big ship. But recently, experts definitely believe that they are on the right path to this new era of technology, the cloud-based era. So I don't hear a lot about Watson recently. It's more about what they're doing with the cloud, which is a lot better than hearing about silly Watson, because they've been talking about Watson for 2 decades. So price-wise, it's hard to argue against it at this level, but it's also, there's a neckline that I fear that, let's say Joel's correct and the market itself is falling, IBM could see 125 technically just from that. I'm not calling it down there. I'm just saying that there is some sort of a inverse cup and handle, or they're testing a neckline on a weekly basis, the chart. And so if markets fall, this one is going a lot lower.
I sold my IBM.
Yeah.
I sold it. Yeah, I had it in the investment portfolio for a while. I bought around 152. I just sold it a few days ago there because I just look at it. It's not, really getting the love. Warren is out. I mean, we knew Warren was out anyways. We known that for a while, but even though it was just fully publicly disclosed, but, it was already hinted that he was out of it. I mean, I feel like they just can't get it together here. I thought, maybe the blockchain stuff, but it's such a small portion of their business. It's just not going to turn the needle. I feel like it's a value trap, and I feel like it's the G of the tech world. So I just, started analyzing it. I know I was bullish at the beginning of the year on it, but you know what? You got to change it when you're not feeling it. Maybe I'm selling low here now, but I ate the loss and I moved on.
Well, yeah, this is where you got to stick to your guns. If you put yourself an exit point, or you say if it reaches this, I'm out, then you have to live by it. Otherwise, you're just carrying it down.
Otherwise, those little losers turn to big losers.
Yes, exactly. So that's the difference between somebody who's doing it for part-time and somebody who's dedicated their life to actually investing. So, I can't believe that the CEO still has her job. She must be one heck of a salesperson in person behind closed doors as far as boardrooms and things, because Oh my gosh, can you believe it? I mean, I bet you a new CEO headline would spring the stock
It
up.
would. It would, and that might get somebody like me back into it. So I'm not against going back into it, but as of right now, I already went through GE. I feel like IBM just can't get their act together. And I know, like at the beginning of the year, I thought the blockchain stuff was going to give them some boost. I like the, and it's nice. There's value here. There's of course value here. But you know what? The last quarter did for me. The last quarter wasn't that bad, and they slaughtered the stock on it, and it just couldn't bounce back. And like, you know what? The trading, action here in this is just telling me that this is hated, and maybe it's hated for a reason, so
there is value. So if you want to re-engage long, I mean, a PE of 12 trailing 12
cheap.
months, so it is cheap. It could get cheaper if the market falls. It's not going to rally. I don't care about the PE, but you could re-engage with a debit call spread out to October or at the end of the year or next year. That keeps you along the stock with limited risk and the option to get out of it at any point in time for a limited loss. So if you want to keep to scratch the itch, so to speak, of being long IBM, you can do that. Buy a debit call spread near the money here, way out in time for a chance to double your money.
One more stock here before we let you go, unless there's somebody in the chat that wants something too. Or did you have something, Joel? You were going to talk.
I just want to ask you real quickly, and you don't have to answer me now. But at the Benzinga FigTech Awards, we're going to be having a fireside chat with representatives from IBM and Watson. And I want to know if you either send me some questions now that you would ask them, because you seem to be following this a lot more than me, or you just like, what would be some big questions you'd be asking IBM about their Watson project?
Would they replace their CEO?
Okay. I'm not to that. All right. We've been on the line with Nick Chahine. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He joins our show every Tuesday morning at 8:35 to give us his fundamental and technical outlook on the markets and put up a good debate, Nick. We always enjoy it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
All right, S&P futures have climbed back. They got to mid-range on the session, and you had to be quick to catch it there. Mid-range on the session is 65.25. We got to 65.75 in the last bracket. That's our key to more upside in today's session. Dennis, what do you want to cover here?
It's a mixed market here today, and it's a tricky market to figure out. You got Alibaba with 127,000 to sell. It's pulling back, but it had a hell of a run yesterday, so it's not surprising. A little bit of profit taking. As that thing pulls back, it just finds more buyers, it seems like, though. Twitter, which has just kind of been hanging out here for a couple of days now, kind of looks itchy. Kind of looks ready to go on the chart. It's pulling back here this morning. It's got 48,000 shares to sell here. Above 30, though, it still looks pretty good. So I don't mind this Twitter. If we could get above 31.5, then it could be off to the races again. So I'm going to wait on that one from a day trading perspective until it's above 31.5. If it breaks out 31.5, I think it could be 32.5. So that's my number there on Twitter. From a balanced land, that's pretty much the bulk of it. Like I said, some of the banks are catching a bid, and that might be on the back of Value Act and Citi. Otherwise, we're kind of mixed.
DC1, he was probably wanting Nick to take a look at it, but Yelp, I haven't taken a look at that chart in a long time. Let's see here. Ooh, nice run up, trading a dime. I think the first thing I would do here would see, did they report or are they reporting soon? Because that would affect the way I
think they're this week. Let me confirm in the pro.
The 10th.
Yep. Thursday.
After the close.
Thursday after the bell.
Yeah. So, I mean, just if you bid in this stock, it's had a great run up. You're running into some monthly resistance here at 48.50. I don't know. I mean, if you had this a nice run, maybe take a few chips off the table ahead of the report, do a replacement strategy, buying some cheap calls or something. If you're looking to short it, I mean, it is at the top of the range, but you don't know, how it's going to react to a good report. Dennis, any thoughts on the Yellow Book pages?
I mean, this is just the Yellow Book page. This is just, breaking out here too. It's again, when does it report, Spencer? Did you say?
Yeah, the Thursday after the bell.
These stocks that are reporting, they all seem to run ahead of the numbers. And I've been playing that strategy for a long time, and it makes money. Buying these stocks 3-4 days before the report and sell them right before the report so you don't have to take it through. And you know what? Like NVIDIA is your classic example. I mean, it's up $20 here in the last 2 days. Now it's again a little late. So it seems like you buy them a week ahead of the report, they just start to get love. and they start to go up and people anticipating, oh, here comes the earnings. Let's get in there. It's funny how that strategy just seems to work every earnings season. It's buying their stocks ahead of the report and sell them before the report. Seems to work.
All right. Let's see here. We had to.
I know what I have an announcement, mostly really for Joel and Dennis. Do you guys have plans today at 11:30 a.m.?
You taking us out to lunch?
Besides working?
No, you're not going to be working. You're not going to be working.
Not going to be working. What's going on at 11:30?
You're going to be coming to downtown Detroit, and you're going to watch a live esports match.
Dennis, you got to get on a plane.
That's what.
Who's the esport? Who's playing?
The Pistons and the Cavs?
Well, sure.
They're esports teams.
The esports teams for the Pistons and the Cavaliers are playing outside.
Campus Marshes.
Such a crazy world.
Dennis, if you want to put your money where your mouth is.
Is it being broadcasted on the web?
You got to do your DD. You got to come and do your research if you want to put your money where your mouth is, and you want.
But I like esports. I should be doing this.
So people are going to come and watch people play video games.
Yeah.
Is this correct?
Yeah.
There's going to be no hoop out there.
No.
Are there?
Watch them. Yeah, there's going to be a hoop on the TV, and they're going to be the video game characters going to be thrown through the hoops. It's crazy. This esports stuff, man. This is the way. This is gonna get some money. Continue to get money. That's why that ATVI. Remember we said it the day they reported. It was trading down $3-4. I'm like, there's an eternal underneath demand in this thing because of esports. It turned around that day. It's up at 70. You're already up almost 8-9% since we were talking about like 3 days ago on the earnings report. Every time these esports companies seem to pull back, they're going to catch bids. There's only the three big ones: EA, ATVI, and TTWO. Those are the big guns that are obviously there. Then you got video game maker. You got a lot of other plays off NVIDIA. You could even argue, but I mean the direct plays on esports are those three companies, and it seems like every time those pull back, they're good buying opportunities. I will say I think all these stocks make new all-time highs here, maybe even by the end of the year. All three of them.
What was I going to ask about the esports games here? So then the players are going to be sitting there and they're going to be like doing the controls, and then people are going to be watching it on the screen. Is that this one? Okay.
Well, it's not the players for the team though. Like the actual.
No.
It's the video game players.
It's the players on the video game team. There's a team. There's people who play video games, and they're on a team, and they play together. And you're gonna watch, and they're gonna be. I don't know if you want the autograph, Joel, but I'm sure they'll give it to you if you ask nicely.
I don't know. I mean, do you want to go out there? Here are some of the players on the Detroit Pistons gaming team. Ramo Randacic.
Oh boy. Okay.
First round.
Let's get one of these guys on the show tomorrow.
Rochelle.
We get one of these guys on the show.
I shouldn't have brought this up. Okay.
Bring him on the show. Spencer, you can pull this off. We want to get some of these video gamers. Get the championship team on the show.
I don't think most of our listeners
care. Are these the names of the players on the screen, or are these the names of the people actually playing it?
No.
Follow along, Joel.
Ramo Randacic. Is that one of these guys, or is it
no, that's the name of the players on the gaming team that they're playing together.
Okay, but that's the name of the guy. So that's the guy's real name, and he's playing on the court?
No, they're playing. Oh my God, forget it.
The video game players have a basketball.
There's a team of video game players,
right,
playing together.
Right.
He's just messing with you.
I don't know if he is, honestly.
No.
And that's the name. Okay.
That's the name of the actual player.
The actual person.
The actual person.
Human being.
And then they're out on the court too.
No. There is no court. They're playing as an avatar in a video game.
Go out there.
Yeah. Okay. Forget it. Looking at ratings real quick before you wrap up this morning, Dennis. Any ratings that jump out to you this morning? I didn't see.
You know what? They were quiet. A lot of little ones. Anything you jumping out at you, Spencer? I know I how to buy a Goldman. That kind of is on my radar there because I own the stock, and also because it's up significantly. It's up 3%.
Yeah, I mean, I saw AAP, Advanced Auto Parts, upgrade Atlantic Equities to overweight. Nothing too crazy. PI caught an upgrade from Canaccord from hold to buy. Nothing else as far as downgrades go. Didn't see a ton of the major names. There are Zillow catching a downgrade from RBC. They just had earnings, obviously. So no, nothing too crazy in analyst rating.
All right, SPOO's on the rebound here through that mid-range on the session. Now creeping back towards the close here.
I know we are.
Yeah, nice little
Creeper rally.
Yeah, creeper rally. I'll be keeping an eye on the close, which is 27.70. Your pre-market high, 26.72 1/4. So that would be your levels on the upside. On the downside, now 9 points ahead of that pre-market low of 58.50. That will be your support. Underneath that, things really work out to the downside. Just be aware that Monday's low was just above that at 61 1/4. So a couple targets on the downside. All right, Spencer, you want to wrap things up and preview tomorrow's
That's
show?
going to be it for us, folks. Want to remind you, we are exactly 1 week away from the Benzinga FinTech Awards. If you're going to be in the greater New York City area and you want to have some fun, hang out with us next Tuesday and Wednesday at the Benzinga FinTech Awards, you can go to benzingafintech.awards.com. Enter the promo code PMPVIP to get $200 off a ticket, and that's how you can come hang out with Joel and I. We're going to be there, and a bunch of people. We mentioned IBM Watson will be there. Lots of people will be there. I'll pull up a guest list. I'll read on tomorrow's show. But you can find it yourself, benzingafintech.awards.com. You can see who's coming and who you can hang out with. That'll be a 2-day event next week, again, in New York City. So that's going to be it for us today, folks. Hope you guys have had a good morning and have a good rest of your day. We will see you guys on Wednesday.